What's up, Destiny 2 fans? Today we will be covering the Orpheus Quiver, or the Quiver Orpheus build. It's an old one, but it's a good one, and it is buffed with the recent release of Renegades. So this is a very popular build, and I'm gonna just go ahead and showcase it for you. So without further ado, let's jump right on in. For our abilities, we are going to be grabbing Gambler's Dodge, Triple Jump, or whatever jump you'd like, Snare Bomb, and of course, Scatter Grenade. It's just working very well right now. For aspects, we will be grabbing Stylus Executioner, as well as Vanishing Step. And for fragments, we're going to be getting Echo of Instability, Persistence, Starvation, and of course, Undermining. Inside our mod customization in our helm, we're going to get Ashes to Assets, Harmonic Siphon, and Ashes to Assets again. And then in our arms, we will have Firepower ×2, and then a Bolstering Detonation. For our chest, get whatever resistances that you think are going to be working best. For your legs, get Insulation and 2 Void Weapon Surges. And then in our class item, we're going to get Bomber, Powerful Attraction, and Time Dilation. For the first exotic that really makes this build, it is going to be Orpheus Rig, which provides ability energy to each target tethered by Deadfall Anchors. Morbius Quiver has an additional shot. That gives us 3 shots of Morbius Quiver. And then the second exotic is Leviathan's Breath for the heavy weapon slot bow. As for stats, the most important one is going to be Super, which you're going to want to try to hit 200 with, or at least as close as you possibly can. With weapons, you're going to want to try to get at least 100. Anything above 100 is very good as well. And then, of course, the next part is going to be wanting to get Grenade and Class stat. Those are about equal, but what you don't want is Melee or Health stat. As for the armor set bonus, it's going to come down to personal preference. I went with a 2-piece of Smoke Jumper set, as well as a 2-piece of Twofold Crown. Now, there are probably better choices out there, but this is just what fit the stats best for me currently. As for how the build performs, I would say that it does very, very well against boss damage, but when it is in the thick of it with mobbing itself, it can be a little bit weak sometimes. However, this is the most popular one, and I decided to test it out, so here's just a couple of my thoughts about the build in general. It is imperative to have something with destabilizing rounds in your build in order to make this feel like it has a lot more survivability. You do get a lot of Devour in there, but sometimes it can be hard to build that up because you have been dumping your stats into super and weapons, and therefore your own abilities don't recharge as fast unless you find a good rhythm to your gameplay. However, the boss DPS rotation is very nice, and I don't even have the catalyst here, but what you're supposed to do is you fire off Morbius Quiver, then you do 3 shots of Leviathan's Breath, fire off Morbius Quiver again, and then fire off Leviathan's Breath until the very end of your super, of which you will then fire off your last Morbius Quiver. Now, as I said before, I'm still trying to get the catalyst for the Leviathan's Breath, so sometimes I'm only able to get 2 precision shots in there, but it does make it much faster when you're getting precision shots as well as when you get the catalyst, and that's where I can really see that this damage to the boss will really increase a lot. This is on 10 normal, and I thought that it did a very good amount of DPS. I did try it with the Choir of 1, and the Choir of 1 was not doing as much damage, not even close. Now, something I did try out was switching out the kinetic slot with the lightsaber and then the power slot with the new crossbow. This, I felt, allowed us to keep a lot of the boss damage, though definitely not as high as with Leviathan's Breath, while allowing us a lot more survivability and viability with all of the other enemies that you might encounter within a strike. What you're doing outside of the boss is really trying to use your dodge mechanic to stay invisible, as well as trying to kill as much enemies with your void weapons as possible, as well as using a good snare bomb grenade combo is very likely to give you a lot of good DPS on those smaller enemies as well. So as I said before, the weapons that I've been using are Minch Retrograde with Rewind rounds and Bait and Switch, Compact Defender with Destabilizing rounds and Repulsor Brace, or the Mos Athanor 4 with Demoralize and Destabilizing rounds, and then of course the big weapon that you will want to be choosing is the Leviathan's Breath. However, a good variant is going to be the crossbow with Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing rounds, a good shout, and then of course Compact Defender with, again, Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing rounds, and then with the lightsaber, this is how I have mine set up. I have balanced form, but you can definitely use your defensive form. I haven't unlocked offensive form yet, but time will tell what happens with there. And then I went with the impact core so that I can weaken my targets with my lightsaber and then follow it up with a quick few shots with my weapons. As I unlock more things for the lightsaber, I'll let you all know how this works. Anyways, Destiny 2 fans, that is the Quiver Orpheus build, and don't be afraid to use your super on lots of ads, especially if you don't have a boss coming up. It really does help out with that damage to everything else that is going on inside of your strikes or inside of your frontiers. This is a very good build. though there are some small weaknesses. You all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time for the build showcase.